So many beautiful faces. I often am completely misunderstood, especially after some of these layers of awareness and awakening and awakenings and these experiences that other people have and sort of are still trapped inside of misinterpretations. When I say, and especially when I say ego is everything, ego is everything. There's so many different layers of consciousness that statement speaks to, but we're sort of trapped inside of our own fabrications of reality, as well as reality expressing and explaining itself. So, in there's more lost in translation, left up to interpretation. So, just to kind of clear the air a little bit when you're engaging with anyone who is reactive in any way or defensive and protective. Your limitlessness has been offensive to their limitations. It's as easy as that. And beliefs build the way that we see ourselves, as well as reality, as well as what other people look at us and see us as. Yes, you do have a pretty solid baseline as far as understanding how people look at you because you've provided them with a template of who you take yourself to be. But inside there creates a bunch of these egoic snaps that you'll experience in the future with people that you did know, are meeting for the first time, don't quite know yet. They're dealing with the same things, and if they don't know themselves, then they'll be very reactive and they'll be very aggressive. And as you keep holding on to your stillness, your calm, and they keep antagonizing something inside of them out that you are drawing out, this is just like an exorcism. So you don't get to get rid of any of all this stuff, okay? Like the good, the bad, and the ugly, the darkness, the light. It's all with you forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. None of this goes away. Half of accessing the macabre is going down through the depths, through humanity's history of violence, until light is able to spark and spawn from nothingness. Okay, and that is expanding enough space to plant another flower that is you. So that's an enormous topic and subject that has hours and hours and hours and hours of conversations to unfold. The other side, the light of the divine and the Godhead of the superego coming down and then forming into the triangle that you form around yourself. This is much easier for most of everyone to do because they've lived in darkness and shadows, afraid of going either way most of all of our life. Most of our life has been conditioned by religion, school, teachers, mentors, experiences, visions, the media, movies, books, stories. The story that is you is what you're writing right now, and that is all going to be shaped by the residual image that you allow yourself to see yourself as. And you have a closet of infinite possibilities and an infinite number of skin suits for you to choose to wear every day. So it turns into a little bit of communication and getting everything out. You are the art inside. So you painting the true story that you were painting and are painting can tend to trigger some anger and anxiety and frustrations, while you're showing everyone the beautiful you that you are, and no one seems to be appreciating it. No one seems to be understanding it. No one seems to be listening. No one seems to be giving a care in the world about it, because they're lost trying to do the same thing. And somewhere in there, your ability to use and utilize your own true voice intimidates them. And it's okay. And this is a safe place. Fear is fear, and it's everywhere, and it solidifies everything from ego into the world around us, so we can play this game that we call life. And in deep meditation, you'll have all of this stuff explained and expressed for you. The only thing that I'm even doing or able to do is point towards something that you'll experience if you allow yourself to do so. If you allow yourself to slow down and step into stillness and step into and through some of these different ways of seeing your life, a new way of thinking, if you would, a new way of remembering. As most of our life has not been what we've said it was. Most of our life has been quite calm. Something happened, and then we overreacted and kept feeding into said overreaction, and that created a new state of normality, a new state of awareness that is an altered state, but we find that comfortable and create that in every next step, just because of feeling out of comfort in the stillness and in the silence and in the feeling of prana of your body popping in and out of existence as it's just healing itself. Quantum health is another enormous topic that ego will keep us from getting into. If you're trying to talk about any of this stuff and someone starts to get angry and starts to get defensive or aggressive or antagonistic, some things inside them are just disorganized, and your organization looks disorganized. And it is said that you have to lose your mind to find yourself and find your mind. And that's very much true. For the most part, all of our stages of growth coming from and through the popularity contest that is life, that feeds our addiction to stimulation from exterior sources in instant gratification. Idea of getting what you want when you want it is sort of throwing away the feeling of having everything that there is all at the same time, all at once. And this presence, the now, the never-ending now, all this stuff, all these words that people point towards and talk about, they're really easy to do. It's really simple, but we tend to take a different attitude, and we've been using our inner critic instead of our inner coach. And our inner critic is like a drill sergeant, but you create your ego like that, and you can't handle a drill sergeant showing up in someone else. They're motivated, and it hurts you because you thought you were motivated. And just reflections turn into solidified brick walls, and ladrillo is thrown right in your face, and by someone who's not even throwing anything at you. So somewhere it just takes slowing down and taking over what you worry about. And there's a method, and it's repetition, and it's called hypnotherapy. Well, we've hypnotized ourselves because we've used repetition in a negative way and followed through with every single day reaffirming everything, every conspiracy theory that's ever been on top of us, every fear that's ever confined or driven us. And motivation is all we see. Everyone's putting themselves through little tests and creating ways of motivating themselves. And then those ways fall apart and it doesn't work anymore. And you're just kind of lost and not knowing of anything that could work to get you out of this cycle, this Groundhog Day experience. And we can control that. And if you're interested in controlling that and anything that I'm saying, you've come to the right place. Because this is how we take self-control and turn it into something. This is how we find out what inspiration and motivation are and create them from nothingness. This is where you'll learn how to utilize your emotions instead of being run over and run down by them. Instead of waiting for something to happen in the external world and then you feel something, you'll start to notice that you want to feel something, so then something happens and then you get to feel it. And even this little breadcrumb from reality will lead you to the place of actually explaining deja vu, actually explaining karma and dharma. All this information, all the infinite intelligence that the subconscious is accessing and opening up. It's very soft, it's very feminine. The way that we've been running around with our monkey mind, it's very forceful, it's very hard, and it's very masculine. And that's perfect, but we've got to learn how to sensitize, to be sensitive in a specific way instead of being sensitive and overly sensitive because we think we're so tough. We think we're so big and bad and we're so scary. When if you're putting on a mask of trying to scare someone else, that's only a reflection of being scared inside still. And that's okay. This is a safe space. But there's no reason and no need to force that onto the support group that we have, our family and friends, our partner in life, our partners in crime, our partners in time. Because in a world of madness, it's a crime to be sane. It's a crime to care and love. It's against the rules. Look around. It's time to remake and reshape those rules. Catch it all with compassion. Lead with your open heart, your best foot forward. Allow yourself to be the me that I was meant to be. Allow yourself to flow through your natural and true voice. Articulation will open up as well. But allow yourself to just take these slow steps. We can do some massive steps together if that's interesting to you and you're interested in some personal, private, spiritual life coaching, whatever you would like to call them, personal trainings, whatever has you feel more comfortable. Because really, like, the only thing that a teacher has to offer is something that they've actually been through. And a large reason why we're so shunned and shied away from therapy and or psychology or a psychiatrist or anything like that is real. They've never been through the gutters. They've never been through life the way that you've been through life. They've never worked the jobs and grinded through the same way that you did. They went to school and they did their other forms of learning, all this stuff, and then somewhat have a disassociation about them because they have to sort of protect themselves. And if you're still protecting yourself from someone else's emotions, then you're still protecting yourself from your own. And you're in no place to help anyone. Not yet. You haven't healed. And we find this in large groups of ascension, groups of people who have figured it all out in their own head and then start arguing back and forth and just like hearing something they wanted to hear instead of what you're saying. And then that draws you into saying it the way that they're hearing it so they can actually feel what they're expecting and placing on you and forcing on you. And it's okay because they don't understand what energy they're giving, what energy they're taking, what energy they're protecting, how energy works, and how you can just like not do that anymore and just create and swell and fill up and provide, and then not be an energy vampire, not suck and drain people dry, and actually be a positive experience in their life instead of a place to come cry and complain that just drains and just hurts and just dies out. There's so much to you that is just perfect, that we don't need anything else, and we don't need any more, and we don't need anybody to hear it. There's like a vanity that shows up, that after cleaning our own palate, these new stages of ego express themselves, and there's internalization to be done. But then there's also like a layer that you get to where some of it flips and your form of projection turns inside out, and what you're projecting is actually influencing the field instead of just bouncing back and forth between two individuals that are arguing about saying the same thing. Somewhere we're going to stop repeating the past and start creating a new future if we can learn to allow it. So that projection shifts from 86, if you've ever taken psychology, it's about 86% projection of everything that we say. And in here, that is expressed by, in some of my stuff, books and things, as we're only ever talking to ourselves in a number of ways. When I'm speaking, it is something that I need to hear, as well as something I'm expressing to someone else. And that mirror in the other person is reflecting what I say back to me with their reflection that they're reflecting upon it with. And then they reflect more inside themselves, while I would be able to find a reflection and then contemplate. But most of the time our conversations don't flow like this. It's back and forth and back and forth, and on top of the first idea that was being played with. And no, I don't want to know the truth. Hold on. I already know the truth, so I don't want to hear your truth. So let's move on. And it's just this chasing of the tail in a different way. Stepping into silences where it all explains itself. So even just letting an aha moment form into itself instead of hopping in and cutting someone off with an opinion. And that's really where like some of these longer talks will actually get something said, because the second time you listen to it or watch it, it's going to mean different things from the triggers that were thought of in the beginning of the dissertation. They'll sort of explain themselves out if we listen to what's actually being said instead of listening to what's in our head. As soon as a trigger is triggered, your brain turns on the speed of thought and relates everything it's heard in a specific way that then reaffirms your beliefs and then pops your beliefs out as the first thing that you're going to want to say. And that's natural. But it is also detrimental to learning and being able to absorb any other perspectives or points of view or more. There's more. There's always more. But conversation is just gorgeous. And if we're going to ever step out of fight or flight, lack and scarcity, and step into abundance, then we're going to need to change the way you speak. That is done by changing the way you think, and that reshapes all this stuff. And then you can start to like use your idea of mindset and set your goal on something and stay there, but then feel life and separate them and do what it takes to get where you're trying to go by sticking to that unshakable mindset that's just, I'm doing the right thing. And that's not that hard to do. It's not that hard to find, and it's not that hard to cultivate. We can find this in my first book, Becoming a Finisher. There's a lot of other topics in this book, but there's a lot going on in there. But an unshakable mindset is built on experiences and triumphs and understanding, rewriting what we think failures are, because they're still baby steps of success towards the same goal. So every single step that we do take is nothing but a success. And all of everything else is just learning. So if we're going to imprint our nightmare on top of what's being said and how it's being said, and then dive back into delusions, then that's a personal choice and something you can learn how to control and stop doing. Just like our reactions, just like how we react, how long it takes for us to react, how long we stay in that reactive state, how sensitive we are, what ways we're sensitive, because overly sensitive just hurts everything and everyone. It just makes you accusational and judgmental and expectant. Being sensitive in a new, different way allows you to accept and receive and feel and share and give. And you turn into the conduit that is this body. And you can like really humanize yourself. Before, there's no humanization. Like when we're running from and chasing our own tail, playing with emotions in an external fashion, in the way that I expressed, as far as cause and effect, or causing an effect. And in here, this has kind of still got its ups and downs in this little short talk, even though it's pretty chill, it's pretty calm, it's pretty still. It can still need a little bit of emphasization, a little bit of influence to really just like imprint a couple of ideas that are just less and more important than what we've been focusing on. Because in one way, they're more important than focusing on negativity, pain, suffering, anger, complicated conversations, and arguing. In another way, they're less important concepts, because all these concepts are nothing but something that once you wrap your head around, you can put down. You can close the book on that subject and put it back on the shelf and go about your day and actually get to know an empty mind, a calm, still thought without thought. It's pretty scary. A couple of times you'll freak yourself out, because you're so addicted to hearing a narrative in your head and overthinking things that stillness gets spooky. So we'll get into more of that. I have some stories about the stages of an empty mind, of wu wei, of the middle way, of non-action, and a non-reactive state. Their emotions imprint snapshots of your life, and you'll never forget any of it. So really, like, part of life is just learning how to replay that entire picture show in a beautiful way, and unlocking the trauma so we can travel back in time into the womb, and all the way into the future, into the womb of the universe, both ways, and they meet up just like the omega point that you are, and light becomes dark, dark becomes light. They're holding hands, just like emotions hold hands, just like everything comes full circle. So it's just gorgeous, and it's beautiful, and it's just calming. It just brings more calming, more stillness, an ability to just kind of float with the wind and not break, an ability to bend, heal, and grow. So that is basically really what all of my books and trainings provide. There's so much more, for sure. There's recollection of information, unlocking and opening your photographic memory, so that's a lot. Emotional intelligence and awareness, the ability to read subconscious, that's enormous. Once you can read your subconscious, you'll read other people's, and you'll start flowing into telepathy if you keep the course. And more than reading other people's thoughts, they will read yours. So it's a big challenge to embark upon. Transparency is all we are, but transparency also leads to some disconnects, discords, aggressive behaviors. A lot of aggression can come out of some people's egoic snaps that are seemingly forced upon them by you, but it is their own mental framework that's kind of crumbling down, because we've held up and built this straw stick scaffolding to then build the pyramid that you are on top of. Anytime you break down and can't handle the pressure, all that's doing is getting rid of the crap, all that old crap, and just building on and upon a new base, a new beginning. And that's the most beautiful thing to allow yourself to feel, is a new beginning. Because as you're getting older, as every day you're getting older and you feel yourself crawling towards death, if you could let yourself feel a new beginning, oh man, just feel your body, feel, enter into that. It's just like being born again. It's just like waking up from the fog. It's just like being injured and then healing and just like starting over. It's so gorgeous. It's so perfect. It's just like hitting reset on the dang computer game, saying, I'm going to start over. It is the easy button, and it can be a snap. We can create some mnemonic devices that's just like the clapper or a snap up to your ear, a series of snaps. Psycho-cybernetics has a lot to offer. And if you're in any kind of cycles of domestic violence or self-torture or abuse of any kind, it is something that we can come to terms with, and it's something that we can start to control and start to avoid and start to take out of our life. And this is my gift to everyone. So if you are interested in more rapid results than the videos that I'm able to create and post, then contact me directly and we can do that as well. Like, share, subscribe. please, it helps get this started and going. It's so brand new that eventually down the line that will do it itself. But now we're in the beginning stages, so all that stuff adds up and really makes a difference. And I thank you so much for all of that. There's also the website, a newwaveofthinking.com. There, it's in the building stages, so there are no prices on anything, and that's where we just need to talk a little, get onto some private conversations, and I can send over some books or things like that, because all my books are not available to the public yet. They're not print on demand. I don't have any links for those yet. They are all just sent through email personally, and I find it's very much more personalized that way. So if that's interesting to you too, we can get into some of that. And if physical copies are interested, or you're interested in physical copies, then we will talk, and I will make that available as anyone would desire this, that, or the other. Becoming a Finisher is available in physical copy, as well as my first meditation book. They are both on Amazon, and we'll see there, right? I'll try to find the links and put them in the description below. Thank you so much for your time. Have a beautiful day.